All right, what's up, y'all? So this is gonna be a quick video. It's just something I saw in an Instagram comment section. It was a video of Solo doing the spinning solo on Cody at SummerSlam, and someone said, "If you hate Solo, then he's doing his job right." Now, I had this argument with a lot of different people when Roman was still champion because I've never been a really big fan of him being champion for as long as he was. It just seemed to get more insufferable as the months went on. Starting, I think, probably when he beat Cena. When he beat Cena, that was like, okay, I'm done with this. And that could have been for a multitude of reasons, you know what I'm saying? But at that point, I was like, okay, no more. So everything else after that obviously went on for much longer after that. But the trope of, hey, they're a heel, so you're supposed to hate them, I despise that, because to me that excuses bad writing. You feel me? It's like, oh, well, they're a bad guy. Well, you're supposed to boo him. You're supposed to not. No, there's a thing called go away heat. There's a thing called this wrestler just isn't good at their job. I'm not saying this about Solo. I'm saying this in general. My thing with Solo is going to be explained in a minute. But the trope has been, I've been hit with the trope so many times. And like, when you push back on it, they say, oh, well, don't watch then. Then that tells you right there, there's no legs to the statement. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking to a wrestling fan and they give you something and you give them like a open criticism back and they say, oh, well, stop watching, then you know they have nothing else. It was a mute statement, they said. They just said it to try to get you in a hole. And their only reply is turn the TV off, which, again, wrestling fans saying that is still some of the most asinine commentary you'll ever hear from a wrestling fan, So, in the case of Solo, though, my thing with Solo is that I never hated Solo. I really think Solo's pretty cool. I don't like the fact that they decided to make his role Roman Reigns' diet when they didn't even prepare for that. I know storyline-wise, Roman said he's next up, or Jimmy said he's next up, or Jay said he's next up. I feel like the bloodline stuff has gotten so convoluted. I feel like every person in the bloodline has been said to be the next person after Roman. And every time I push back on that, someone tells me, oh, remember in October 2021 when Jay said in a promo, and it's like, okay, Roman wanted Jay to be the next one. Jimmy said he's the next one. Solo, we all knew probably was going to be the next one because he was the enforcer. Jacob looks like he's going to be one. Tama Tonga wants to be. They all want to be the tribal chief. I feel like people get confused with how great the storyline was, but they forget that there's many holes to this bloodline story. And Solo might be one of the biggest subtractors of it. I feel like Solo has gotten the worst out of it at times because they made Solo literally a thumb. Solo was a thumb. That's all Solo's character was. No words, very little emotion on his face, just a thumb. So you can't go from a thumb to tribal chief just out of, we're going to put a suit on him and a glove. When the tribal chief whole mantle is about winning, and Solo, while he was given this whole tribal chief thing, while he decided he was tribal chief, was on a losing streak. He was getting pinned week by AJ Styles at LA Knight, on SmackDown. So your foundation of this is already shaky. You know what I'm saying? So you're not building on anything. You're just saying, oh, well, he's tribal chief because I understand, oh, he's delusional. So yes. But with that, you still have to have a foundation. At least Roman Reigns had a foundation to become delusional. Solo's had nothing. He had nothing. Delusion still works, but you still have no foundation when you rip it apart from what the storyline is, Roman had motive. Roman had an agenda. Roman had everything prepared for him. Solo had a suit and some gloves and Tangaloa and Tama Tonga. Now he's tribal chief. That's cool, but it doesn't come off very well to me. And now I see when he's out there in front of the crowd and people say Cody's boring. No, Solo's boring. And Solo doesn't have to be boring because Solo was downgraded as soon as he got to the main roster. That's why I was hoping that the man Solo, if Solo means alone, I was hoping that Solo came to the main roster alone and did everything on his own. But of course, he had to be the one to make sure Drew McIntyre didn't beat Roman at Clash, and then everything just built from there. And Solo did a great job as an enforcer, but he was a finisher. He was a Samoan spike away from being nothing. So you make him that, and then a few months later tell me that he's supposed to be the tribal chief. You're not doing a very good job of building a foundation here. And that's why I think the Bloodline 2.0 feel a lot more intimidating when it's just Tama, Tangaloa, and Jacob Fatu. And now Jacob Fatu is here. And Triple H, I'm going to tell you right now, if you put a mic in Jacob Fatu's hands, you're in trouble because Solo's going to get even more exposed, you know? And again, this is not Solo's fault. This is purely absent-minded writing. You know, Rikishi goes on the podcast every week complaining about Jay and Yeet and Jimmy, complaining about Solo. He just made a complaint about Jacob Fatu, said Jacob isn't getting booked correctly, which is, again, asinine, but, you know, Solo is the one that's gotten the worst out of this. I used to think Sammy got the worst out of this, but Sammy put some life into the damn storyline. Solo's gotten the worst out of this because you had him on NXT when he was a street champion. He had a feud with this dude named Boa. If you know what Boa is, I fuck with Boa. Him and Solo had this feud on NXT. I don't know why I love this feud so much. They were shooting fireballs at each other, having street fights at NXT. I love it. And this was like early NXT 2.0. Solo was cool. He was talking on the mic. I think he beat Mello for the North American Championship. Solo was freaking crazy. And he got the main roster. I'm like, okay, street champ on the Bloodline. This would be. I expected Solo to be for Roman what Jacob is for Solo. You understand that? And I couldn't have been farther from what they did or are doing. You know what I'm saying? Like when Jacob came in to help Solo, he was just like this burst of energy and intensity and fear. That's what I wanted Solo to be. But Solo got everything taken away from him. His nickname, his promo ability, his whole move set. He became one move. He became Roman's trap card when it was time to win a match that he's really supposed to lose. Solo comes in, spike, Roman spear. And we just kept doing that. Rinse and repeat. A lot of people thought that was great wrestling. It wasn't. It was poor writing, poor lazy writing. And I feel like they were looking so far as long as Roman's champion, okay, there's other people you have to think about here. You know, Roman's not going to be champion forever. So now we're here. Roman, he's fine. Of course, he's not getting there's no problem with Roman here, you know. But Solo comes in, and now he has to revive himself from what he was. Oh, he can't. Oh, you know why? Because you didn't give him any foundation to. Jimmy and Jay have foundation. That's why they're going to be fine. Jacob Fatu has foundation. Tangaloa and Tamatanga have foundation. Solo has nothing. And they tried to make us think that he has something. So that goes all the way back to what I started this video with. Solo Sikoa being a heel. I don't boo Solo Sikoa because he's a bad guy. I boo Solo Sikoa because his character writing, his character development is bad. And I hope that they can fix it soon, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. They just had him get pinned by Cody Rhodes twice. And he's going to get pinned again at Bad Blood. Because Roman's not losing. Cody's definitely not losing. And Jacob Fatu is definitely not losing. He may not even stay down for a pin. I'll be surprised if one of them get a 1 count on Jacob. So Solo's probably going to get pinned again. Or, well, I had a slight thought, but that's a terrible idea. But my thought was that Jimmy comes back and Cody ends up losing, but Cody shouldn't be getting pinned because he's the undisputed champion. So the only way you could get out of that with the Bloodline 2.0 winning is if Roman gets pinned, which would be astonishing. It's not a bad idea. That's risky. That's a risky one because, you know, a lot of the Roman fans think Roman should never get pinned for the rest of his life. And when you think about it, Roman has only gotten pinned like 10 times in his entire career. Like, if you really go back and look, Roman has the, like, highest winning percentage in, like, years. And I didn't know that until a few months ago. Roman has not gotten pinned a lot of times. He usually wins. I'm talking about before Tribal Chief. Go back and look how many matches Roman has actually gotten pinned. It's insane when you actually look at it. But anyway, we just have to stop that trope. And I feel like it's only happened in this modern era of wrestling fans because a lot of these new wrestling fans forget that these superstars aren't invincible, and they look at one superstar and just think the world revolves around them when that is extremely far from the truth, especially with how so many superstars are coming in and coming out, and there's so many different characters and superstars coming from everywhere taking over. There's going to be new superstars. There's going to be new champions that are going to take the mantle and become more exciting than the superstars that we grew up with, So you got to think about that. But we have to stop excusing bad heel writing and say, oh, they're a heel. That means no. There's also a thing about being a good superstar, a good heel, a good face. But yeah, man, I really didn't intend for this video to be that long, but I started talking after a while and I started just, But yeah, it has to stop because the wrestling tropes don't hurt us as fans. I think they only hurt the superstars, And I've been on many wrestling debate shows and things like that, and it's like the amount of people that run to these tropes and these like unjust narratives to make a point, it's alarming. Because I don't know if they believe it or I don't think they're just trying to say it to get out of a conversation. I don't know what it is, but I've heard it too many times with too many different superstars, and it's kind of freaking me out. So I don't know, but y'all let me know how you guys feel about it, man. Is there a thing as a bad heel? How do you feel about that? But y'all let me know in the comment section down below. If you like the video, subscribe. Let me try this again. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below. Can the video with me do next? I love you guys. Praise God. And I will see you next video, man.